In this sequel to Avengers Endgame, The Incredible Hulk, and the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's a lot to catch up on, Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, is the new Captain America and is in talks to work with President Thaddeus Ross, originally played by William Hurt, now Harrison Ford, after a new element is found in the remains of the giant celestial at the end of Eternals. Again, a lot to catch up on. However, someone is pulling the strings to start an all out war, and it's up to Captain America to save the day and all that jazz. Where should I start? I guess we should start with the negatives first this time. For one thing, as I alluded to at the beginning, there are a great deal of MCU movies you need to be at least passingly familiar with, going back all the way to 2008 with The Incredible Hulk. At times, it does feel like homework to remember all this, not gonna lie. Secondly, the reshoots of the film do show, and it affects the plot. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on because it feels like there's so much happening. There's Sam trying to find his place as the new Captain America, Ross's past, what happened with the villain, the stuff with the war, and then Red Hulk shows up. It's all over the place. It seems to me they had a title for this film before a plot. Actually, that's not even true because the title was indeed changed at one point. Because of the weaknesses in the plot, I wasn't also invested in what was going on as much as the previous two Captain America films, Winter Soldier and Civil War. You do understand the motivations of the villain and the struggles of Ross, but again, so much is thrown at the wall with it landing sometimes, and other times not really. Okay, so if one of the most important parts of any film, the story, didn't really work, what else is there? I'll say the acting is great from the whole cast. The highlights to me were Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, and Carl Lumbly, who plays Isaiah Bradley. Ford, as we all know, is a powerhouse actor, and, to me at least, it doesn't feel like he's phoning it in. This is a role he can honestly do in his sleep, but he puts a lot of passion into the character of Ross. Anthony Mackie is very charismatic as Sam Wilson, and has proven to be a worthy successor to Steve. He may not be Steve Rogers, and he may have a different personality, but he still embodies that hopefulness of a better tomorrow that Steve had. I also like that this was a Captain America that doesn't have the super soldier serum, so Sam thinks he has to prove himself to people, which is addressed in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. But the actor I loved the most in the film was one who wasn't in it all that much, and that was Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley. This is a man who has been wronged his whole life and is at his lowest moment here when he is set up to kill Ross. You empathize with the pain he is going through and want to see him get the justice he so deserves. Again, if you want to see more of him and understand his backstory, watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He truly shines in that show, as well as this film. The action is pretty fun for this type of film. While it's growing a bit old with the CGI'd superpower characters, it feels a bit more fun and realistic when you have Sam fighting with his shield and fists. It's entertaining. But when we do get to some of the CGI fights, they do it well enough, with the highlight being the fight between Cap and Red Hulk. Speaking of Red Hulk, I do think the marketing was misleading with how big of a part he'd play in the film, so take that with a word of warning. So now the question is, would I recommend the film? Yes and no. The downside is you have to be passingly familiar with a lot of MCU stuff, even though I think some of it you can understand on your own. The plot is a bit incoherent, even though I have an idea of what they were going for, and the actors salvaged the film a bit. Overall, it's another middle of the road MCU film, which is disappointing because I wanted to love this film. If I gave this film a number rating, I'd say it's a 6.5 out of 10. It's nothing terrible, but it's nothing amazing either. As for my traditional rating, I'd say wait until streaming, but if you must see it on the big screen, at least get a matinee viewing because this film mostly glides instead of soars. Thanks. This is an O.M.M review. This is O.M.M signing out.